Guten Morgen from Nuremberg, Germany. I'm here in front of the city wall here that surrounds the old part of Nuremberg, and pretty soon I'm going to be walking into the main gate. Today I'm going to do the walking route of the old town that is by Rick Steves in his book on Germany, and it's a pretty good walk. It hits all the highlights as usual. His tours are really good, so I highly recommend his books if you're coming to anywhere in Europe. So I thought today I would take you along on my tour and tell you a little bit about the old town, Nuremberg, Germany. I want to point out that right here in Albrecht, Durer, Platz, just there right behind the statue is the entrance to the underground tunnels. And when the war started, the tunnels were used only for storing beer and wine and other goods like pickles. But when the war started, they decided to use them for safety bunkers for the residents, and so they built this entrance here just behind the Albrecht Durer statue. And one of the reasons they picked it was because you can see it's in the middle of this square, somewhat away from the buildings, where if the buildings were bombed and toppled, they would not necessarily block that entrance down into the tunnels, trapping everybody in below. So it was very well thought out, and it was also a well-known landmark here behind the statue, so people knew exactly where to go. So from here, from the Platz, I'm going to continue on up the hill. This was part of the stables. It's now used as office space, but it's also a good example of half timber construction, with the timber and then filled in with clay. And up at the top, you can see the sort of diamond-shaped shingles that are common here. So this is looking back down at the hill that I've just come up past the stables. Here is one of the many towers. You can see the ramparts up there on top of the wall where guards would have been stationed. And people tend to think of castles as a building, but they were actually an entire small city, and the main building was where the king lived, but people actually could live inside the walls of the castle enclosure. So when you refer to a castle, you're referring to the entire enclosure. And this is the main gate up ahead of us. Goes into the main courtyard, where we'll buy our tickets. And take a look at this door. Again, the double-headed eagle representing the imperial family of the Habsburgs. So this was the royal court, and it was where the emperor, the king, passed judgment and heard cases. And there would have been furniture in here set up for the court, but it wasn't kept here all the time. So this is how it normally looked. But it's just a big empty room, and this was about as far as most regular citizens got into the castle. This is the castle's chapel. It was built in the 13th century, and it's unique because it's a 3-level chapel, and we're in the center level here where those people who were at court or in the castle could attend Mass. And then on the upper level, which we're going to see, would have been for the emperor only, and he could access that from his personal living quarters. And then down below was where the more common people here in the castle could enter from street level. And so all three could worship together, but the classes were still kept separate. And there you see the upper level where the emperor would have worshipped. Just a small chapel for those here at the castle. So now we're going to go up these tiny, tiny stairs. And it doesn't say anywhere what these stairs would have been used for, because it connects the second and third levels. So I'm guessing maybe servants only would have used this. So let's see. Here we see the chapel from the upper level. You can see all the way down into the bottom level. This is a little side chapel here, and you can see it still has the original wooden floors. They don't allow people in it now because it's not stable. But you can also see the frescoes that were once on the walls here. And they've managed to preserve some, although a lot of it is gone. But it must have been beautiful in its day. Now usually you would have been able to walk all throughout that courtyard over there. They've got it closed off for reconstruction right now. But this would have been filled with activity during the day. It was part of the main structure of the castle, and those who were fortunate enough to live here would have had their run of the courtyards. Here's a little pro tip here. This is the gate that I came in on. It's the lowest gate, the first one that you'll see when you walk up the hill. But I'm going to go out on this upper gate over here, and you'll get a beautiful view of the city. It's kind of foggy today, but we'll still be able to see the city, and on a nice day you can get some beautiful pictures there. Here's more of the inner castle. This tower was originally square, but when cannons came into being, it was converted to a round tower to deflect the cannonballs a little bit better. So this is looking back at Nuremberg from up at the castle. And just over there is St. Jacob's Church, and just beyond that is the Christmas market. So now I'm going to walk around to the other side of the castle, I'm not sure there was a front and a back, but it's the side facing away from the old city. And I think from back here we're going to be able to see the moat. So that's what I'm going in search of. This may be the way to the gardens, which are down in the moat. Okay, I see Brook, B-R-U-C-K-E, so this is a bridge. And yep, this is the bridge that goes over the moat. So we're around on the back side of the castle now. You can see where they're doing some reconstruction and preservation. And you can see the giant walls of the moat here. So I'm coming out now at the back of the castle. What I think is the back of the castle, I'm not quite sure. If you take a cab up here, this is probably the entrance they're going to bring you to, though. So you'll just walk through that tunnel that I just came through. I'm going to go back across this bridge because I want to go out and back into the old city. But isn't that a beautiful wall? Even the walls are ornate, decorated. And once you've come down here and crossed the bridge, seen the river, that's the end of the Rick Steves tour. So I'm going to make my way back to the city center, back towards the Christmas market, and then I think I'm going to call it a day. But this was a great tour. I highly recommend it. It's very well done. Again, it's in the Rick Steves Germany book.